What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. Got a real dirty white boy member on today. Call him Deuce. Deuce spent some time in federal prison, got into it with some people, the DC car, but we're going to hear about all that stuff in the interview. Deuce, tell the people who you are, where you're from, and talk a little bit about you, brother.
My name's Marty Swift. I'm from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. It's just a little dot on the road map. It's about 2 hours north of Charlotte, and that's basically where I'm from. Just a little small town.
And I know you ended up in federal prison, right?
Yes, sir.
Also did some time in state prison, right?
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about what led you to prison, man.
The first time?
The first time.
The first time I went to prison was in 1995. I got busted with 8-ball of crack.
Busted with an 8-ball of crack, and you go to prison. What state was that?
That was North Carolina.
Were you getting high back then?
No, not really. I was basically just hustling a little bit back then.
And how much time do you end up with?
Well, I got 5 years under it was, back then North Carolina didn't have that mandatory minimum shit. So I ended up getting 5 years, but I ended up doing like 9 months on they terminated.
And then you end up going to prison again when?
I went back again, and my second go-round was 1997.
And is that state prison?
Yeah, that's state.
How much time are you sentenced to?
They gave me 2 10 to 12-month sentences. I had to do both of them. So 2 years.
So not too much time, right?
No, about 2 years.
And what's that prison system like over there for you?
Well, North Carolina, it's not too bad. I mean, the food sucks. I mean, it ain't really too bad. There's a couple of dangerous spots now, don't get me wrong, but, you know, it's not too bad. It ain't like the feds, man.
You know, I really hate when people say, well, you know what? Prison ain't too bad, man. It was all right. It was a good place, man. It was a good joint. You know, I hate when people say that.
I ain't going to say it's a good place. It wasn't a good place. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't a place I won't go back to, that's for sure. But I've been to some rough spots, and the ones in North Carolina wasn't too bad.
And eventually you end up going to federal prison, right?
Yeah.
What's that federal prison system like? What do you go to prison for there?
I went for manufacturing of meth and possession of methamphetamine.
Now that shocks me, Marty. I'm just joking. How much time do you end up with in the feds?
They gave me 120 months.
And for those that don't know what 120 months is, it's 10 years. You go to federal prison for 10 years. How old are you at the time?
I was 39.
39.
Actually, I was 38.
So 38 years old, you're walking into federal prison. I know that you're a dirty white boy gang member. What's it like when you walk into this federal prison system?
Hey, man, it's a whole different ball game. Like I said, for being in state prison, man, it's totally different. Everything's like segregated by cars, states, everything's just totally different in there, man.
What was your mindset going in there? Did you hear about the violence and what it was like in there?
Oh, yeah, I done heard all about it. It was, you know, I was scared. I ain't going to lie to you because I'd never been out of the state of North Carolina doing time. And, you know, I'm a gang member and shit, but that don't mean shit, man. I still afraid, you know. I still scared.
You were still a little bit scared?
Yes, sir.
Tell me why you were afraid.
Well, I guess it's because, you know, you walking in there and you don't know nobody. You don't know a soul because, like I said, you miles away from home. You in a whole different state. And you walking in there, you don't know nobody.
And I know eventually, and we'll get into this, you were one of John Gotti's brother's cellies at one point, right?
Yes, I was.
Let's talk a little bit about the federal prison that you go to, though. What's your first federal prison that you walk into?
The first one I went to was FCI Estelle down in South Carolina.
And how long did you stay there?
I stayed there from 2014 until 2017.
You know, some people think, man, you went to an FCI, man, but do they get busy at them FCIs?
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm telling you, Estelle, you know, it's a chomo yard. I ain't gonna lie to you. There's a lot of sex offenders there and shit, but I'm telling you, we got busy now.
When you say we got busy, you're at a still. What are some of the things that you've seen happen at this FCI that's, you know, that some people are like, man, I'm going to FCI, I'm good.
Man, I've seen the passes and some blacks get into it, and some Puerto Ricans and some passes. I guess the biggest one was the passes and the Puerto Ricans. They all got into it.
Were they fighting each other?
Yeah.
And what was that like?
Actually, it was over homosexual.
Oh, boy. So, listen. All right, well, tell us the story. It's your story. Tell it.
Well, what happened was one of the Puerto Ricans, he started messing around with one of them things, and apparently the punk was around with one of them passes, and I mean, it went from there. That's what got started.
So, you got people doing their thing, right? One guy gets jealous. I mean, is it like in the street, like how dudes get jealous over chicks? Is it kind of like the same way?
Hey, it's amazing, man, how you see that shit, men doing that shit over another man. It's crazy.
Now, you wasn't running around thinking that dude was sexy, were you?
Man, shit, I'm all about these females.
I
got a beautiful wife, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm straight up pussy, man.
Well, I wish you would have said that word, but we'll bleep that out. But anyway, let me ask you this, right? You stay there for a couple years. Why do you end up leaving that place?
Well, I'll tell you the truth, man. I come in off the yard one morning. It was the day after Christmas, 2016. I come off the yard. I come into the block, and Chomo is touching the white TV. There's rules in there. We established rules with all them guys. We told them, we don't consider them white people. We actually consider them as being monsters, man. That's what my people, we consider child molesters monsters. We don't consider them humans. So I walk in off the yard, and there's no other white people around. I'm looking, and next thing I know, man, he touched the TV, so I punched him in the mouth. I knocked one of his teeth out. I didn't get caught right then, but SIS come lock me up at the 4 o'clock count.
So you punch him in the face, but do you say anything to him before he touches the TV? Or are you like, hey, man, you just turned the TV? How's that work?
He's up there turning it. When I walk up on him, he's got his hands on the TV. I don't let him see me coming. And I just peck him on the shoulder, and as soon as he turned around, I punched him in the mouth.
So
I told him, I said, look, man, we told you when you got off the bus here, you could not touch the TV. That's a no-no.
So after you punch him in the face, what happens?
Well, I just punched him in the face, and I told him what I just said. I look at the dude, and I tell him, I say, man, you know the rules, you can't touch the TV. So I punch him in the face, and I go home.
When you say you go home, what? You go to your cell?
Yeah, I went to my cell, yeah.
So just nonchalant, you blast this dude, but I told you, man, don't touch the TV, and then you disappear in your cell. What happens next?
Well, it's about 10 o'clock in the morning at that time, and shit, I go on to lunch, finish up my day, and at 4 o'clock count, I hear some keys jingling, I'm asleep, and look up, and SIS is at the door wanting me to cuff up.
So SIS, they cuff you up. Some people don't really know what SIS is, but those are kind of like the cops inside of the prison, right? Do the investigation. They come get you if you do something. And you go to the hole. So the Chomo, obviously, what, he told on you?
He didn't tell on me. His cellie was cleaned the lieutenant's office. So that was his job, and his celly told on me, which he was another chomo.
So his celly tells on you, they come get you, they put you in the hole. Does anybody retaliate on the yard against these guys for getting you locked up?
Yeah, a couple of my homeboys, you can't do too much to the child molesters these days because they got that new charge they charge you with that hate crime. So if you lay hands on them now, you get another 5 years.
But you laid hands on them and nothing happened to you, right? You just go to the SHU and get transferred.
Right.
Let me ask you this, right? Because in some of these FCIs now, if you beat up someone that has that type of charge, they put you in the hole. They will transfer you at times. But what is it like on the compound for them dudes? I mean, do them dudes say things to you guys or like, you guys think you own the TV? You guys are always disrespecting us. Do you hear that stuff from them type of people?
Oh man, you hear all kinds of stuff, man. I mean, right here's the way we done the child molesters, man. We changed that prison around a little bit. The grandfather clause, whenever we got there, we let the one stay on the yard that was already there before we got there and shit, man. And we let them stay, but after that, when they started coming, we'd just run them off, man.
So let me say this, right? You're talking about the grandfather clause, and some people might be like, man, grandfather clause, when does that apply with, these type of people, right?
Well, that's how they politic the shit out, man. There was people there before I got there that, they was running the dorm and the yard and shit. So, I mean, they didn't want to politic it out, man.
So
all the independent white dudes, they politicked it out, and they instituted that bullshit, that grandfather clause.
So you want to blame it on the independents?
Well, my gang, we don't like being around them people, man. But I understand they gotta do their time just like we do. But I feel it's like this, man. Just like I said earlier, them people is not white to me. They are monsters, so we don't consider them white people.
Well, okay. I mean, I understand your position, but what I want to know is, did they have their own TV anywhere? Where did they sit? I mean,
no, we wouldn't let them sit down. They had to stand against the wall at Estelle. We made them stand against the wall if they wanted to watch TV. They had nowhere to sit. And in the chow hall, they had 2 tables.
So they couldn't sit down and watch TV. If they wanted to watch TV, they could watch your TV, but they had to be in the background and stand against the wall.
Yeah, they could not sit down, no.
You ever have any of them that were acted tough, that, talk shit back, or like, I want to sit here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They thought, they was tough. I mean, they thought they was going to stand up and do what they thought they was going to do. I don't know, but we settled it, We took care of it.
When you say you took care of it, what happens to them type of people?
Well, we just, we smashed them, man. We put a couple of dudes on them and we smashed them.
So explain to the people what smashing is, putting a couple dudes on them, and what happens after they smash the people.
Well, most of the time, right here's what happens. You send like 2 good white boys to smash a child molester if he's trying to get tough or get out of line, whatever. You just go smash him, beat him up real good. We didn't stab him or nothing, but just, beat them up real good. And then, they're going to go to the hole and check in or whatever. And most of the time they'll come and get a couple of your guys and put them in the hole and leave them in there for a week or so. And then most of the time they'll ship the chomo off.
So you end up going to the SIS people come get you. You didn't go to SIS. I apologize about that. You end up going to the hole. How long are you in the hole before they transfer you?
I was in there for 97 days.
What's that like, being in the hole for 97 days, man?
Man, that's it sucks. But one thing about Estelle, in the hole, they still let you have a $20 order on the commissary.
Well, I mean, that might help out a little bit, but I mean,
I
not that much.
I can still get coffee. That's the main thing. I can still get me some coffee.
That seems to be the thing with white dudes in prison. Like, they want to have coffee, right?
Yeah. Gotta have coffee, man.
And how are you heating the coffee up in the hole, man?
Well, I had me a wick and a tuna bag, and I cleaned it out real good. I cleaned the bag up real good, and I put my water in it. And I'd make me a wick, and I'd dangle that bag over the flame.
So let me tell the people, you know, they sell tuna fish that comes in these aluminum bags. You know, you eat the tuna fish, you clean it out. Now you're using that to put water in. You got a string. You make you a little bun, and you got a flame going on your toilet, and you're just heating your water up inside this tuna fish can bag, right?
Yeah.
Crazy way to live, wouldn't you say?
Exactly. It is crazy.
So you end up getting transferred. What's the next prison that you go to, Marty?
From there, I went to USP Pollock down in Louisiana.
USP Pollock. Do you end up going on the yard in Pollock?
Yeah, I went on the yard.
So what's Pollock like, man? One of the most dangerous prisons in the country. You walk in there. What's your first day like?
Man, well, the first day, see, I had to ride all the way from Oklahoma City on a damn bus, man, and I was black box the whole time, about 16 hours. And I mean, I'm sure you know the black box, man.
I rode that same trip with a black box.
Yeah, it's tough, man. As you know, then. So it's hard to even eat you damn sandwich they give you and stuff. Black box on. I mean, it's very hard to use the bathroom or anything. And I mean, it was. I guess that's one of the roughest rides I ever took in my life, man. Actually.
So now you know you're going. Do you know you're going to Pollock when you're leaving Oklahoma? Are you like, yo, you're going to Polar?
Yeah. See, this is the way they done me at Estelle. My case manager, me and him didn't get along. And see, he come by when I was in the whole Estelle waiting to be transferred. And this is my word, bro. He told me, he said, man, you ain't got nothing to worry about. You going to Sweetersburg, which is Petersburg, Virginia. So I said, well, I'm cool with that. It's actually closer to my home where I live. So I was cool. And then I got to Oklahoma City. And hell, I go in diagnostic. The lady that tells you where you're going, she asked me, she said, sir, you know where you're going? I said, yeah, I'm going to Petersburg, Virginia. And she said, who told you that? And I said, well, my case manager. And she said, nah. She said, you're going to USP Paul.
What was that like when she told you that?
Oh man, that was crazy. That was that. I mean, it was crazy, man. I didn't think, I'd done enough really to go to the pen.
So now
my points was 22.
So now you're going to the pen, man. What are you thinking? Are you a little bit nervous and afraid now?
Hell yeah! I done heard all the stories about Pollock, man. Yeah, man, I up. No shit, it had me scared.
Well, I ain't gonna lie. When they put me on that bus, told me I was going to Pollock, I was like, I think I was scared too. I'm not gonna lie, I'm keeping it real and raw. Man. I'm like, damn, I'm going to Pollock, man.
Hell yeah, that shit ain't no fun, man.
So you get to Pollock, right? And
we don't even make it. Hey, listen, we don't even make it off the bus, man. They calling the names for us to get off the bus at the pen, and two dudes start fighting in receiving the discharge, R&D. They start fighting in there. So now it takes about another whole hour to get us off the bus because they got break the fighting.
Did you feel like, man, this is it now? I'm really in prison finally?
I knew, man. I knew.
So you go out there on the yard in Pollock. What happens? Do the white dudes approach you right away?
Yeah, I had a couple of bros there, a couple of DWB homies.
So you get there. What do? They give you a knife? What's it like?
Man, I got a knife, and I mean I guess they done heard about me coming. They knowed I was coming. They done told me, and they done have my paperwork and shit checked out. They knowed I was good, so I wasn't tripping on that. But I mean, yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's like when you walk in a place like that, man, it's like you can just feel the misery and the death all around you, man. It's a feeling like people on the street. I mean, they don't know what it's like to walk into a place like that for the very first time. you could feel the tension and the death and misery in the air, man.
The death and the misery and the tension, man. It's high there, right?
Exactly. It is, yeah.
And when you talk about that, I want to ask you this. Did you see things happen at Pollock that affected you?
Man, I seen a lot of shit there that affected. I mean, yeah, I did.
Tell us some of the stuff that you've seen where you were like, wow, man.
I seen the dude from DC, man. He come in. He'd been there about 2 weeks maybe, and then it wasn't like 2 weeks later another DC dude come, and I heard the dude talking to his homies, the one that'd been there a while. He was saying that dude had told on some of his family and got him in trouble or something, and I mean it was wild, man. Next thing I know, like 2 days later, dude's dead, man. He killed dude.
Wild, wild place. You ever personally see anybody get stabbed while you were there?
Yeah, I seen that dude get stabbed. I seen him get stabbed.
When he was getting stabbed, what was he doing? Was he yelling? Was he running? Was he trying to fight back?
He was trying to fight back. He had a knife. They both had knives.
Both had knives, and one guy wins, one guy loses, right?
Yeah, one guy wins and one loses. The guy that, I said that been there, the one that didn't tell, he ended up winning. I guess because he snuck dude, man. He came up behind him and he hit him. He stabbed him about 2 times, I guess, before you know what happened.
And then what? They're just going knife to knife, stabbing each other.
Yeah. Yeah, he backed up a couple of steps and he pulls out his shit. And it just went from there, man. He's already up, though. He done been stabbed twice, so he's leaking blood all over the place. And old dude, he just got on him, man. He's like a damn piranha. You know what I'm saying? He got him. He killed dude. He stabbed him about 30 times.
Did you ever have to put in any work, Marty?
Oh man, yeah, numerous times.
And what's that like when you got to go on a mission and do something to somebody? What are you thinking? Are you thinking like, man, I want to do this? Or are you thinking, damn, I hope I don't get jammed up, get in no more trouble?
Well, I'm going to take you to a time I ended up leaving Pollock and I went across the street to the medium. I stayed there for about a year and a half, and I ended up going to the drug program in Beckley, West Virginia. And I fell out of the drug program. I didn't go to it. Well, when I got there, I'm a dirty white boy, and there's like one other dirty white boy on the yard. So, I started around with the homeboys from Carolina. And shit happens, man. The big homie at the time, the independent dude, he's from right down the street here from me, about 30 minutes. And he ended up getting jumped by some white boys from Kentucky and Ohio. And they caught him coming out of the barber shop, and there was like a foot of snow on the ground at the time up there, man. It was snowing real hard. And, man, next thing you know, they beat my buddy up. They ended up putting him in the hospital, broke his jaw, put 30-some staples in his head where they kicked him with the boots. I mean, they him up. It's 3 of them beat him up. And he ends up going to the hole, my buddy does. He was the speaker for our car. And so we all got together and they held a vote on the yard and they elected me to be the speaker for the North and South Carolina White Boys. This is the independent guys. And I told them plainly, I said, look, I'll do it until another independent dude from Carolina comes in that's got a good head on his shoulders, that's been around, that knows what's going on and whatever. And I said, I'll do it until then. So I go from there. I was the speaker for our car. And, SIS is tripping out on that shit with my homeboy because they thinking we going to retaliate and this, that, and the other. Well, the thing is, man, some shit happened between him and a couple of them dudes. And, I mean, I didn't even really know nothing about it. It was over some boxing, some shit. I don't know. I don't really know. I never really caught the full story. But, well, anyhow, I talked it out with them guys that jumped in. We squashed all that bullshit. And, you know, next time a mission came up, since they elected me to be the speaker, man, I took it. I said, just to prove to y'all I'm down with the cause, I said, I'll do this myself just to prove to y'all that I won't do this. And I wouldn't send y'all something to do that I wouldn't do myself. So I took it up. What happened was, dude from Carolina here, he stole a bunch of stamps off this old dude in the wheelchair. He was a shitty. I'd done some time with that dude before that he stole them stamps from. So he came to me over and tell me my homeboy stole all that shit. So I gave dude a chance to pay him, and he said he was, and he strung dude along, never paid him. So I jumped on dude from Chow Hall. Let's put work in, like you were saying. Let's put work in. So I jump on him in the chow hall. I didn't even have nobody with me to help me. I jump on dude, and I beat his ass in there. And next thing I know, man, the cops, they get me. They pepper spray me. They beat my ass in the chow hall. They beat me up so bad I couldn't even walk to the hole. They had to carry me to the hole. Well, when they got me to the hole, as you know, I don't guess the public knows, but they strip you down, all your clothes off the compound and put you in a jumpsuit or whatever. And, well, when I get down there, you know, I still got my eyes is full of pepper spray, this, that, and the other. Well, they take me in the holding cell, and they strip me down. I'm still cuffed, my feet's cuffed, and behind my back. Well, they come in there, and, man, I swear, they beat shit out of me, bro. I couldn't get out of bed for about 5 days.
What else happened to you? Didn't they spray you, do something vicious to you?
Man, you know, they sprayed me, man. They pepper sprayed me. They beat me. There's blood coming out of my ears, my nose. I mean, and this is no lie. I mean, a lot of people might think this is funny. I shouldn't be saying this, but yes, this is true. They held me down. And this is no lie. This is what kind of human beings them COs are. They 6 of them on me. I couldn't move. They held me down and they sprayed pepper spray up my ass, man.
What? Are you serious?
I'm dead serious, man.
I thought, okay. So they hit you with the old sprayer in the pooper.
All in my